Okay, hi all. Good afternoon to all of you. Okay, today this week I'm going to teach you guys about the political economy of international trade. Now, okay, we go to the next slide. Okay, again the same thing. Okay, this is introduction of this topic. So you must know what is actually free trade. Okay, free trade is occurred when the government do not attempt to restrict what citizen can buy from another country or what they can sell to another country. Means there's no restriction what you can sell and what you can buy to your country. This is what you call free trade. While many nations are nominally committed to free trade, they tend to intervene in the international trade to protect the interests of political importance group. Okay, some of them they are intervene is something like the involvement or the intersection of the political importance group in the country punya free trade, or we call it as a campur tangan. So normally it is normal for the country if they want to do all these trade things. Okay, normally political or government, the political people, politics, they're going to involve in this matter. Okay, so why normally the government they involve or they intersect they campur tangan in this free trade or the economy of the country. Okay, they have two types of argument according to the scholar. Okay, they have two types of argument. We have what we call as a political arguments and also economic argument. Okay, political argument, they are concerned with protecting the interest of certain group within a nation. They involved in this economic things because they want to protect their interests. Okay, normally the people who produce that product often at the expense of the other group, normally the consumer. So if they involve the political argument that's involved, the people that the producer who have a good relationship with the government especially, they can get they can gain interest from that, but the expenses is coming from us. We are the consumer or customer. We are the one that who need to face this thing. For example, like if they bring the luxury car here in Malaysia. Kat Malaysia, you can see the Malaysia price of that car is expensive compared to the other country. Okay, so the people who bring this, as a producer, they gain something, which is maybe there are certain people behind this. Okay, then we have the economic argument. So economic argument, they are typically concerned with the boosting of overall wealth of nation. Means they're going to benefit both benefit the producer, consumer, and all people around them. Okay, this economic agreement. So this is the two argument why government should the types of argument for the government intervention. We have political, which means that certain people they protect the interest of certain group, and also the expenses bear by other groups. And also we have economic, that typically concerned with the boosting to overall wealth of nation. Means this more like equal. Okay, benefit all, both producer and also the consumer and also the government. Okay, there is a 7 main instrument in the trade policy. Okay, in trade policy they have a 7 main instrument, which include first, okay, we have first we have tariff. Okay, then we have subsidies, then we have import quotas, then we have voluntary export restraints, we have a local content requirements, we have anti-dumping policy, and also we have an administrative policy. So we're going to learn one by one. Okay, first we have tariff. Okay, tariff is actually the taxes. Okay, it's actually the taxes levied on import and also sometimes on export. Or the other words, tariff is actually a tax or duty to be paid on particular class of import or export. It's actually a tax or duty to be paid on the particular class of imports and also export. So we have a what you call as a specific tariff. So this is a fixed charge of each good imported, such as this is example in US. At Valorum tariffs, a percent of imported good value. So on the other words, specific tariff is actually import tax that expressed in an amount of money per unit imported. So any import tax, any import products you come in Malaysia, so you have the tax per unit at those per unit of the product and services. Import tax that express in an amount of money per unit exported. This is one of the trade barrier designed to reduce import into countries. You have this specific tariff because you want to reduce the import of the country. Okay, means that this is one of the what we call as a barrier lah. You put a specific, that maybe high tariff, specific tariff, so that people not really more import come. Not banyak products from outside come to your country. So who's going to gain this tariff? Normally this tariff, if they do this in their international business, okay, in the country, where the most important one is the government. Government is the one who going to receive the benefit. Then we have a domestic producer. Okay, they will gain profit, and also employees who protected industry keep their job. Okay, normally when we have this tariff, it help the country to have what you call some amount of money, means the financial punya dia boleh dapat duit lah daripada sini. Okay, that's why pentingnya we don't really do what we call as free trade. Sebab free trade ni you buat mana-mana tak ada kuota, tak ada tariff semua. So we need that tariff to actually dapat duit sikit. Siapa-siapa nak bawa masuk barang ni ke dalam Malaysia, so we will get amount of money, sebab kita akan increasekan sikit harga. So tapi yang rugi, who is going to lose if this tariff happen? The consumer will who pay higher prices. Example in Malaysia, like Zara, H&M, the price of their clothes is quite expensive, but in their country is really cheap. Because of what? Because of this tariff. Okay, when they bring the clothes, everything in Malaysia, they increase the price. So who is going to lose? You as a consumer. Okay, you're going to pay high. The economy which remain inefficient. Your economy will remain inefficient, and also employees to protect industry who don't develop new skill. People who not develop new skill, even though you are in the protect industry, you will lose lah. So that's why you as employer need to develop your skill. Okay, increase your skill. Okay, next we have subsidies. Okay, subsidize or subsidies. Okay, it's actually a government payment to the domestic producer. Okay, it can take many form. It can be cash grants, low interest loan, tax breaks, equity participants, and also government purchase. On the other words, actually subsidy is a sum of money that granted by the state, or by the government, by the country, okay, or a public body to help the industry keep the price of a commodity low. Means the government normally dia akan bagi duit bukan subsidi kepada, especially to the commodity punya barang lah, macam gula, getah, all that things. Okay, they give macam minyak. Kat Malaysia kita ada minyak subsidi. That's why our petrol fuel is quite cheap compared to other country, because government give subsidi. Means government bagi duit dekat pengusaha-pengusaha minyak to make sure the price are maintain low. Okay, sometimes dia naik, sometimes dia turun lah, tapi kita no need to pay like banyak-banyak sangat. So RM1 lebih atau RM2 lebih, RM3 lebih per liter of the minyak kan. So that we call as a subsidy. So there's a lot of way that normally what we call government will give the subsidy. It can be as this mentioned, it can be the grant, low interest loan, maybe a tax break, tax redemption, equity participation, and also government purchase. So Macam harga gula jugalah, kita juga dekat Malaysia gula pun subsidi kerajaan. Sebab itu harga gula dekat Malaysia quite cheap compared to other country. So why normally why government want to aim to achieve lower cost? Okay, aim to achieve lower cost to first they want to compete against cheaper imports. Compete against cheaper imports. For example, contohnya gula daripada negara Thai lagi murah daripada Malaysia. So if they not give the subsidy, of course Malaysian, kita as a consumer, we buy the product from Thailand. Okay, gain export market. Okay, if you give the subsidy, you can get export market because it sells cheaper. Okay, increase the domestic and employment. Okay, you're going to increase the domestic mean local employment, and help local producer to achieve first mover advantage in the emerging country. Means that with this subsidy, they're going to help the first mover. First mover is the someone that first come up with that product, okay, in the industry. So they're going to help the local producer lah, sebab government dia akan tolong local producer first. They're not going to help producer daripada luar. Okay, faham ya? Subsidi is a government yang give some amount of money granted by the government to make sure the price of the commodity stay low. Alright, this is subsidy. Okay, next we have what we call as a import quota. So import, you know what is import, right? I already told you, I think in the introduction fundamental of business or introduction to business subject, I already teach you the quota. You remember that I told you in Malaysia, macam contohnya luxury car, they cannot produce a lot in luxury car. They have certain quota they need to follow. Okay, did you remember the one that example I give? They need to have a certain quota. For example, maybe 100 cars per month, for example, they have quota. So actually import quota is actually restrict the quantity, okay, restrict the quantity of some goods that may be imported into a country. Macam I cakap tadi, luxury car dekat Malaysia kita tak produce banyak. I mean they have a certain quota. Mungkin sebulan atau mungkin sebulan 100, or there might be, if you have the order or the order daripada someone, then baru dia boleh bawa that luxury car. Okay, they don't keep stock here in Malaysia. That is what I call as a quota. They have this strict quantity of some good that may be imported into a country. Okay, restrict the quantity of some good that may be imported to the country. It's actually a government to impose trade restriction that limits a number or monetary value of goods that country can import or export during the particular period. So normally countries sometimes they impose them on the specific product to reduce imports and also increase the domestic production. So one of the factor why people do this quota, because they want to increase the domestic production. So you can see in Malaysia, the most driving car in Malaysia is Myvi. So you can see how Malaysian car is more have demand compared to overseas car. So that's why this luxury car they need to restrict. Okay, if they have means that you must be really rich to buy this luxury car. Okay, normally they have two types of what we call import quota. We have tariff rate quota and also the quota rent. Okay, tariff rate quota is also known as a tariff quota. They are predetermined quantities of good which can be imported at the preferential. It means that a hybrid of a quota and tariff, where a lower tariff is applied to import within the quota than to those over the quota. Then we have actually it's just tariff, just tariff, but it's on the quota. Means di dalam jumlah kuota yang dibenarkan. Then we have a quota rent, the extra profit that producer make when supply is artificial limited by the import quota. Is if you do this quota, so you have the extra profit. This extra profit we call it as a quota rent. Okay, hope you clear. Okay, next we have the voluntary export restraint. So voluntary export restraint is actually the arrangement between exporting and importing countries which the exporting country agrees to limit the quantity of a specific export below a certain level in order to avoid mandatory restriction by importing countries. Contohnya, you import punya country ni, contohnya Malaysia dengan Singapore. Okay, so Malaysia is the one who going to export their product. Okay, so Malaysia dia agree dengan limit quantity. Okay, dia macam ni. Malaysia kita agree dengan specific export that below a certain level. Okay, mungkin we want to export the certain level. They have a restraint. Okay, the voluntary, kita yang sendiri voluntary untuk have a specific export below a certain level untuk avoid the restriction by Singapore. Okay, or the other words, quotas can trade imposed by the exporting country, typical the request of the importing country's government. So normally this import quota and voluntary export restraint, they have benefit. Okay, they're going to be benefit the advantage, benefit domestic producer and also raise the price of the imported good. Okay, they're going to benefit the domestic producer and also imported goods going to increase. Okay, next we go to local content requirements. So these local content requirements, this actually a policy imposed by the government requirements that require firms to use domestically supplied service in order to operate in the economy. So local content, government they require the organisation, they must use the local supply service in order for you to operate in the economy. So demand that some specific fraction of good can be produced domestically. Okay, it means that as I told you, it's actually one of the policy made by the government require that the organisation or the company need to use the local supply service. If they want to operate in the economy, they must use the local supply service. So this is the advantage is they're going to benefit domestic producer and also consumer face higher price. Okay, next we go to next slide. Okay, next main instrument of a trade policy is the administrative policy. So administrative policy actually a bureaucratic rules designed to make it difficult for imports to enter a country. Dia macam bureaucratic lah. Dia macam tegas sikit. They cannot it's very difficult for other country to enter to sell the product, to bring the product inside that country. Okay, normally this one is police hurt consumer by limiting choice. There are certain country they are really strict, but I'm not sure which country. Maybe China, I guess. Okay, maybe it's very hard for you to enter the China market, example because maybe in China you have a lot of everything in China, everything made in China. So why you want to bring another product that way where they can imitate that product easily? Okay, this is what we call as an administrative policy. Bureaucratic rules designed to make difficult for the imports to enter the country. Okay, next we have anti-dumping policy, or we also known as a countervailing duties. Okay, it's actually designed to punish foreign firms that engage in dumping and protect domestic producer from unfair foreign competition. So means actually this anti-dumping policy is a policy made by government to punish the foreign country that engage this one, what we call as a dumping, and also protect. And this anti-dumping policy, they're going to protect the domestic producer, the local producer, from unfair trade by the foreign competition. So dumping means you are going to selling goods in the foreign market below their cost of production. Okay, you selling goods in the foreign market below the cost of production, or selling goods in the foreign market below their fair market value. For example, you sell dumping tu means that, not dumpling okay, dumping tu you sell, suppose harga dia RM4, campur semua cost everything RM4, tapi you sell dengan RM2 je. So this is what we call as dumping. So they must have this. Contoh foreign company ni pergi pembik kat China, dia beli murah sekali, dia jual apa I cakap, no. Dumping ni, anti-dumping ni macam unfair lah. So dia tak nak bagi orang ambil kesempatan terhadap barang-barang yang dijual tu. Maksudnya mungkin dia beli mahal sikit, lepas tu disebabkan kos dia masih ada kan, mungkin dia beli satu unit RM2, lepas tu dia pergi jual satu unit RM1, sebab still maybe their cost of that product mungkin RM5. Faham tak? This is what we call as dumping. Means they're selling goods below the cost of production. Okay, so this dumping, they enable firms to unload excess production in foreign markets, and maybe predatory behavior. Producer use profit from their home's market to subsidize price in the foreign market to drive competitors out of the market and later raise price. This is what we call as a dumping. So you can Google it for more understanding. Okay, that is the main always we call as the main instrument of the trade policy. We have tariff, we have subsidy, we have import quotas, we have voluntary export restraint, we have local content requirement, administrative policies, and also anti-dumping policy. So this is, we already have this slide just now. Okay, there are two main arguments of the government intervention in the markets. I told you they have two main argument why government involved in the market. So we have the political argument and also economic argument. So political argument, they concern with the protecting the interests of certain groups within nation, normally the producer, and often the expenses of other group, and also they concern with the boosting of overall wealth of nation, but both benefit both producer and also consumer. I already explained to you this one. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay, so we have the political. We go to the first one, political argument. So what are the political argument for the government intervention? So we have this one. Okay, political argument, they include the protecting job. We have a protecting industry deemed important for national security. Okay, deem ni maksudnya consider. Okay, retaliating to unfair foreign competitors. We have a protecting consumer from dangerous product, furthering the goals of foreign policy, and also we have protecting the human rights of individuals in exporting countries. Okay, first, the political argument, they said to protecting job. So most of the common political reason is to what we call as to do the trade restrictions. So most of the political reason why they involve in the argument, because of they want the reason for the protecting job, because they want to protect their, I'm sorry. Okay, actually the protecting jobs is the most political, the common political reason for the trade restriction. So what is actually trade restriction? Okay, trade restriction is actually the restriction on the trade of goods and or services between two or more countries. So other words for this trade restriction, we call it as a protectionism. So it's actually the result from this political pressure by unions or industries that are threatened by more efficient foreign producer and have more political clout than the consumer. So normally this one of the factor, most people that trading around the world is one of the factor is their government, coming from their government. So most of this actually they need to protect their job That's why they need to do what we call as a trade restriction. Okay, you have this trade restriction, you do this tariff quota everything because you want to gain some money. Okay, that's normal everywhere in the world. Next, we have a protecting industry deemed important for national security. Deemed is considered, so protecting the industries considered important for the national security. So this is important for the government to protect the industry, because this industry actually indirectly is actually for your national security. So industry like in US, industry like aerospace and also electronics are often protected because they are considered important for the national security. So there are certain industries they can see very important to the national security. Then we have what we call as a retaliation to unfair foreign competitors. So what is actually retaliation mean? Retaliation means you're going to like fight back or strike back. Okay, macam lawan balik, or make an attack on return to similar attack. Okay, contohnya kalau they have unfair foreign competition, so you will fight back with the same way. Okay, when the government takes or threaten to take specific action, other countries may remove their trade barrier. Okay, this trade barrier, some if you want to like import your products to countries, so trade barrier is actually like costly to you, but if you can make it as a free trade, it's easy. Okay, if threatened government do not back down, tension can be escalate and new trade barrier may be enacted. Okay, so try to do something like threaten bad or government take or whatever, and try to remove the trade barrier. Okay, at least to reduce their tariff punya amount. Okay. Okay, next, the political argument include they're going to protecting consumer from the dangerous product. So they're going to limit unsafe product. So there's now a lot of products that like contohnya kalau kat Malaysia, all the face produk-produk kosmetik, you must have KKM punya kelulusan dulu, then you can sell this product. If no KKM punya kelulusan, you cannot sell. So this actually they're going to protecting consumer from the dangerous product. Next, furthering the goals of the foreign policy. Okay, they have like special trade terms can be granted to the countries that government want to build strong relation with. So if you want to have a strong relation with the certain country, you have what we call as a special or privilege or better trade terms. Okay, you're going to like maybe you have discount ke, because you want to have to build the relationship between the both countries. So this trade policy can also be used to punish rogue state, and the helps Burton Act, also the Amato Act have been passed to protect American. Okay, this is American one. Okay, Malaysia I'm not sure, so this one is not important. Next, we have lastly from the political argument, we have a protecting the human rights in individuals in exporting country by trade policy action. So this is what happened. The decision of the Grand China and FN status 1999 was based on the philosophy. Okay, never mind. Okay, so it's going to protect the human rights of individuals in the exporting country. Okay, I don't know, I feel tired. I think I'm not scream, but I feel tired. Okay, so let's go before we go to the next slide, let's go to the code of this week quiz. Okay, the code okay for this week quiz is political IB06. Okay, political IB06, no space, all upper case. Okay, political IB06. Okay, now we go to the next argument. Okay, we have the what we call as a economic argument. Just now political argument, right? So now we have a economic argument. So in economic argument, we have two. We have a strategic trade policy and infant industry argument. Okay, so in the strategic Strategic trade policy is in case where there may be a important first mover advantage. Government can help firm from their country attain this advantage. First mover ni dia dah first time. First mover ni macam if you have that product, you are the first one who come up with that product, then you have competitors. Means you ni macam apa kita panggil, what is the word, monopoly. Not monopoly, you are the one that menjadi the one that found that product first. Lepas tu ada, then later you will have competitors. So that is what you call as a first mover. Okay, so if you have a first mover, you have actually going to get the advantage. So the government will help this. You help this first mover company or first mover firm. Government will help them to get this advantage. Okay, so how they want to government help you? So government can help firms overcome barrier to entry into industry where foreign firm have a initial advantage. Because you are the first mover, so government will help you to enter, to overcome all the barrier to enter the market around the world. Okay, next we go to the infant industry argument. So infant industry argument is actually an industry that should protect until it can develop and be viable and competitive internationally. So it's actually industry. The government should protect this industry until it can be international globalization. So how they're going to accept as a justification for temporary trade restriction under WTO. So what is actually WTO? WTO is a World Trade Organization. So this World Trade Organization, they're going to have like sekejap je dia punya trade punya restriction, temporary only. So how you want to know whether this industry actually growing up or being globalized? Okay, when is the industry going up? So critics argue that if a country has the potential to develop a viable competitive position, its firm should be capable of raising necessary fund without additional support from the government. Once your firm don't have additional support from the government, okay, and once the country like already developed, so this is where your firm or your organization consider as grow up. Okay, this is what we call infant industry argument. So infant ni macam budak-budak lah, budak-budak kecil. Okay, so they must protect until dia besar, until dia matang, until they are been matured enough to sell the product globally. Okay, when should government avoid using trade barrier? As I told you, what is a trade barrier? Trade barrier ni macam trade restriction lah. Okay, they're going to have that restrict on the trade between two or more country. So according to the Paul Krugman, argues that strategic trade policy aimed at establishing domestic firm in the dominant position in a global industry are neighbor policy that boosts national income at the expense of the country. So countries that attempt use such a policy probably provoke vitalization. Actually, they use this policy because they want to fight back. They just want to fight back. It's not like actually they are not they're actually capable enough to enter in the market, but because of that they use this strategy just to provoke the retaliation. Okay, Krugman argue that since special interest group can be influence government, strategic trade policy almost certain to be captured by such groups who will distort of their own ends. Because like some government, some people they can influence the government because they have what we call as cable lah. Kalau kat Malaysia ni, contohnya company A ni, dia sangat ada cable, dia sangat like they have like really strong connection between the Perdana Menteri, for example. So this Perdana Menteri will help this firm. So that's why like they, according to Krugman, they said they have certain people that they can influence the government. So okay, there are certain people that influence the government. So that's why they need to avoid to use this trade barrier, because certain people they influence the government to make the government like tak payahlah bayar tarif, tak payahlah bayar tax, macam tu. Okay, this is actually the sejarah lah. How has the current world trading system emerged? So until the Great Depression of the 1930s, most industry had some degree of protectionism. So what is a protectionism? As I told you, protectionism ni trade restriction lah. Okay, trade restriction. So after World War II, the US and also other nations realized that the value of freer trade. So they established that what we call as JATT, General Agreement of Tariff and Trade, a multilateral agreement to liberalize trade. Okay, in 1980s and early 1990s, protectionist trend emerged. Japan perceived protectionist policy create intense political pressure in the other countries, and their persistent trade deficit by US and also use non-tariff barrier increase. Okay, the Uruguay, this one also like sejarah one. The Uruguay round of GATT negotiate begins 1986. They focus on the service and also intellectual property. I already told you what is intellectual property. Okay, they're going beyond manufactured goods and address trade issue related to service and also intellectual property and also agriculture. Then they have WTO, World Trade Organization. It was hoped that enforcement mechanism would make the WTO more effective policeman of the global trade rules. It's like WTO ni macam policeman in the global trade rules lah. We have what we call as a global World Trade Organization. Okay, this WTO they encompass GATT along with the two sisters of organization. We have GATS, General Agreement of Trade in Service, and also Agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual properties right. We have TRIPS. So the WTO has emerged as an effective advocate and facilitator to future trade deals, particularly in such area as service. So far, the WTO policing and enforcement mechanism are having a positive effect. So most country has adopted WTO recommendation for the trade dispute. Okay, they have a trade punya complaint lah. Okay, for problem. So what is the future of WTO? What is the future of World Trade Organization? Okay, the World Trade Organization become a magnet for the various groups protesting free trade, because this World Trade Organization they don't like free trade. Okay, for them you must like have a barrier in the country, because it's free trade. If you are rich country, they do the free trade to the, for example, the poor country, right? So the poor country, they're going to be poor forever. Okay, because with this tax, with this tariff, with this quota, whatever, this is the one that help you to boost up your economy of the country. So the current agenda of the WTO focus on the rise of anti-dumping policy. They want to do this anti-dumping policy. They tak nak have what they call as a discrimination. They tak nak have a victim. Okay, for example, the big country, they're going to do like victim to the small country by do this what we call as dumping things. Okay, the high level of protectionism in agriculture. Protectionism, I already told you, the restriction, okay, trade restriction, the lack of strong protection for intellectual property in many nations. I already teach you what is intellectual property. Please refer to the slide, I think in first chapter or second chapter, I'm not sure. Continued high tariff, no non-agriculture goods and services in many nations. You must continue the high tariff on non-agricultural goods and services in many nations. Okay, for example, Malaysia kita akan export beras contohnya kan. Kita cuba dapatkan macam durian, for example. Dekat Malaysia durian ni maybe affordable. So mungkin you pergi China, satu biji durian tu harga 600. So they're going to like increase the price of the product because of this what we call as tariff or that thing. Okay, what is the future of the World Trade Organization? Okay, we continue. The WTO launched a new round of talks at Doha, Qatar in 2001. So the agenda of this talks is to cutting tariff on industrial goods and services, to phasing out subsidies to agriculture producer, reducing barrier to cross-border investment, limiting the use of anti-dumping laws. Okay, what do trade barrier mean for manager? So manager needs to consider how trade barrier affect the strategy on the firm and implication of the government policy on the firm. So first, they have to trade barrier raise the cost of exporting products to a country. Then we have the voluntary export restraint, VERs, may limit a firm's ability to serve a country from location outside that country. Then we have to confirm a local content requirement. A firm may have to locate more production activities in given market than it would otherwise. So manager have an incentive to lobby for free trade and keep protectionist pressure from causing them to have a change strategy. So this is what we call the topic of the political economy of international trade. Okay, I think the quiz question is not like math question that I can ask for this, so the question also quite simple. Alright, so that's all the class for today. If you not understand, feel free to WhatsApp me. So that's all. Bye bye, have a nice day.